All right, guys, we are live today with my buddy Forrest Johnson. How are you, man?
Doing great, Ronnie. Great to be with you today.
So, if you guys, I'm sure you've heard of what this guy's done over the last couple of weeks, but I'm joined by Forrest. He's a Natchez runner who just completed one of the most extreme endurance events on the planet, the Great World Race. That's 7 marathons in 7 continents in 7 days.
Yeah, that's it.
And yes, you heard that correctly. You've also ran over 60 marathons.
Yep.
And you've ran a marathon in all 50 states. And he's done it all while running for a mission that's personal. Your daughter Mary Blair lives with type 1 diabetes.
Yep.
And you ran this particular the Great World Race to raise awareness for that cause, and particularly the Breakthrough T1D.
Yeah. Breakthrough T1D, just a great organization, a great partner, and I mean they're really leading the way with raising money, research, just doing a lot of great work. And the thing about type 1 diabetes, it's such a relentless disease. There's no days off, and that was really the motivation I took. Listen, Mary Blair doesn't have a choice. Every day she has to live with this. But my choice is I'm going to finish, and so that was really the motivation that really inspired me through the race.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you. When she was, I guess, diagnosed with type 1 diabetes, how did that change you as a person and the way that you kind of saw the world?
Well, it was kind of devastating. I mean, she's 4 years old, just a perfect, healthy, child, and then to have something that couldn't fix, nothing I could do, and it was a tough pill to swallow. It was
As
really
a dad,
tough.
you're supposed to be able to fix it, right?
Yeah, and it was tough. And then, I didn't even know what it was, if I'm honest. I knew we had a pancreas, but I didn't know what it did, and I mean, so you learn so much about it, but I mean, literally every day, every decision you make around, do you eat, do you not eat, do you exercise, what type of activity level are you at, influences your glucose levels, and so you're constantly making decisions around how much insulin do I give, when do I give it, I mean, so if you look at it from the surface, it may not look that intense, but when you get down beneath the level, I mean, there's not a hour that goes by where we're not thinking about this. You learn to live with it, but it's just a relentless disease.
So you have too much, too little. Yeah. This causes one thing, this causes a different, and all of that.
And I mean, it could be, if you get sick, you have a cold, your body responds a little differently. 1,000 variables go into it, and we don't even know what they are. So you're just kind of, walking around making, medical treatment decisions all day, and so it's pretty remarkable.
I was going to ask you if there's one thing about type 1 that you wish people understood. Is that kind of covered, or is there?
Yeah, it does. And I mean, diabetes, type 2 is a lot more prevalent, and that's generally a lifestyle condition that leads to that. And type 1 is not. It's something that happens, genetically. Your pancreas stops producing insulin, and so it's a completely different disease. A lot of times they're lumped in together, but that distinction's not always made. And so, yeah.
And just real quick, if I know you talked about it for a second, but just the Breakthrough T1D Foundation.
Yep.
You want to talk about them for a minute?
Sure. Great group, and I mean just a passionate group of people that do a lot of great work to raise awareness. I mean, very active in Congress, from legislative initiatives to the research teams to the pharmaceutical companies, just really end to end, and it's kind of a club nobody signed up to join. And, that's one of the ways we kind of describe it, but a really passionate group and just proud to partner with them.
Yeah, and it's awesome that you guys are too. What do you hope that Mary Blair learns about, I guess, life from watching you do what you just did?
Yeah, well, I hope she takes away that you can do big things, that you have a goal, you set out to achieve it, you keep working, you stay relentless, and you can achieve things bigger than you think. And so don't be afraid to shoot and aim high.
Yeah, you definitely aimed high. So like we mentioned before, Forrest has ran 60 plus marathons, ran marathons in all 50 states. We did an interview. You were gracious enough to come in and spend some time with us right before you left a couple of weeks ago.
Yep.
And we covered a lot of that stuff. So if you're on our Miss Lou Champion Spotlight page and you want to hear more about all of those accomplishments, which are amazing in themselves, go back, and there's some really fun stuff in there. So go back a couple of weeks ago and find that video and check that out. Or if you're on our YouTube page, just go to our Champion Spotlights and it's on there. But today we want to talk about kind of this week in general.
Sure.
And what we're going to do is I'm going to ask some general questions up front, and then we'll go through like each leg of it. But again, if you're just tuning in, 7 marathons on 7 continents in 7 days.
7 days, yeah.
And he's still smiling.
Wild week, wild week.
Wild week, that's right. I think I gained 5 pounds. I thought about you a couple times. I'm like, man.
Yeah, I did not gain 5 pounds that week.
Oh, man. So we talked a couple of weeks ago, like I said, about how you came across this race, your buddies, and found it and texted you and all that, and you decided, I want to do this. Mm-hmm. Was there ever a moment on that flight over there that you were like, oh, crap, this is real?
Yeah. It's kind of interesting because it's so much build up, getting ready, packing, getting things, at the office prepared to be out of town. And, it's kind of interesting. On the flight, I've got some time by myself. I'm, really starting to resonate what I signed up to do. And, and I mean, listen, you get some times where you're thinking, what have I gotten into? Am I going to be able to do this? But you think positive and just show up and do your best.
Yeah, I hate heights, and I remember one time just getting on one of those things that shoot you up in the air with a rubber band, and I got in there, and when they locked it, I was like, what in the world am I doing?
Kind of hits home, right? Yeah, you're in now.
Were there any times towards the end that your family were like, are you sure you want to do this?
We'd have conversations about it, but no, Julie and Mary Blair were really supportive, and they're my biggest fans. They were behind this 100%. Probably thought I'd lost my mind a little bit. There may be some truth to that, but no, they were always just real supportive and just gracious and pulling for me no matter what I'm doing. So
yes. I know they were. I'm sure they were nervous and a little bit and thinking, man, what an attempt. Before you left, I was like, to even attempt this is, just a great accomplishment just to attempt it.
Yeah, that was one of the things that went through my mind. You think, oh, wow, am I going to be able to do this? Am I going to fail and be embarrassed? Am I going to hurt myself? So you have these thoughts and just, you're going to stay positive. You're going to do it. You're going to train right, be prepared, and take care of it.
So let's go, because from my understanding, you were going to fly into
Cape Town.
Cape
South
Town.
Africa.
Okay, you were going to fly into Cape Town, meet all the other runners, and then they were going to brief you, I guess was the word, maybe. Kind of get you, because you didn't even really know what you were getting into until you there, and they were going to tell you more, I guess. So let's go through that first night whenever you got there, and just, I guess, the briefing and the things they told you, and just meeting the other people. What was it, 60 people or so?
Yeah, about 60 of us total, and just a remarkable group of people. We all fly down to Cape Town. We've got there's a little hotel kind of ballroom set up. So, we go in there, you kind of meet everybody, a little meet and greet for a while. And, it's really interesting because, at the beginning of the week, you don't know anybody, right? And then you see how that changed over the week. But you go talk to everybody. They set us down, have a couple of briefings. Hey, here's, what we're seeing. And a lot of it was really around Antarctica. Okay, hey, here's the deal. We've got to have a window to be able to fly in. Here's what the conditions are on the ground. Here's what you need to know. Make sure you're prepared with layers and appropriate clothing. The having eye protection was a big deal. The sun is so bright at that with the circumference of the earth there that you can get sun blindness. And so they said, listen, have your polarized goggles, glasses on. Don't take them off because it can you become disoriented. So I didn't take mine off, but that was something they really pressed that point a lot. So
yeah, something I wouldn't have even thought about. But So I was just about to ask, did they give you any good tips or strategies and all that? Did they do a good job of briefing you and getting you prepared for what was to come the next 7 days, you feel?
They did, and I mean, at some point, it kind of is what it is, right? You can talk about it, you can put sugar on it, but you got to take the medicine. And so, yeah, they talked about it a lot, just to prep us. But a lot of it was listen to your body, don't overdo it. We're here to help. We had several doctors that traveled with us, so we had a lot of medical support, and that was one of the messages that, look, we got resources there. If you need help, raise your hand, and they'll get it for you.
Yeah. What about the interactions between the runners? I was curious if everybody was like super serious and like dialed in, or if there was like a little fun too.
Yeah. It's interesting. Everybody was pretty locked in, but it was a good group too, and so that dynamic really changed over the week as everybody got to know each other. And really in Miami, I mean, it was a completely different dynamic than in Cape Town when everybody first kind of met. So that was a remarkable piece just to see that change over the week.
Yeah, I mean, when you go through a week like that with somebody, I mean, they always say if you want to get to know somebody, go through something hard with them.
Sure.
I'm sure you have 60 friends now that.
We'll keep up with these people for the rest of our life.
Did you guys get to talk some? And
yeah. And I mean, you're running a lot, but you're running with people, on the course. And one day you may, run a couple miles with this person. One day it's with that person. And so there's all these just different interactions over the week. Yeah.
So is there a little conversation going when you
Sure.
So you just like, hey, where are you from, buddy?
Absolutely, absolutely. And on the plane, you get to talk to people, and it was really neat to just listen to everybody's why. And so we talked about my why with Mary Blair and T1D, but most people had something they were doing, and there was one gentleman running for Parkinson's, and somebody else, this guy wore a tuxedo.
I saw him, man.
It's
I saw him.
raising money and awareness for men's mental health, and so his thought was men wear tuxedos, so I'm gonna wear a tuxedo.
I saw him.
Yeah. So, but yeah. So it was really neat just hearing everybody's backstory. One of the ladies had a prosthetic leg. And Jackie, and I mean, just remarkable. People pushing boundaries, doing really hard things, and so just a most remarkable group of people.
Yeah, no doubt about that. And I followed you on, is it Twitch? Is that?
Yeah.
I followed you on Twitch every time that I could. Julie did a great job of updating.
Yeah.
And I would kind of follow her, and then whenever I would see something, I would stop what I'm doing for a few minutes. And Melissa and I watched you for like an hour one morning while we were supposed to be getting ready for work. And we were like, we should probably get ready for work now. But so we were talking about some of your strategies whenever I had you on last time about eating, sleeping, and pace and all of that. And some of it you didn't know. So on your pace, you were like, I'm probably going to not worry about time. I'm just going to pace myself a little slower. And you thought that might even be a challenge because you're used to going a certain pace. So did that end up being a challenge for you? And then how was the eating and sleeping and all of that? How did that end up playing out?
Yeah, it really was. The pace was difficult because, when you go down there, I mean, I'm in the best physical condition I've ever been.
Yeah.
And so when I'm running that first marathon, felt good. So it's like, you got to just tap it, slow it down. And that was a challenge, but, that was fine. And that was one thing I was really proud of how well my body held up. My times were consistent. I mean, there was no days where I just, had to walk or just had a big issue. And so I think I had a good strategy, kind of starting slow, staying slow, and seemed to work really well. In terms of food and sleeping, basically on the plane. And it was kind of interesting. We'd get on the plane, and it felt like you're back in your hotel room. That was the home base. And so, we'd get on the plane, they'd have the meal service, and, you didn't know what they were going to be serving, but, it was always fine. And, you just eat and then basically go to sleep. And then they turn the lights on, wake you up. We're an hour from landing, and you start getting ready to do it again.
So you basically, when you weren't running, you were basically living in the air?
Yeah. We're at like 14-hour flights, 12-hour flights. I mean, just significant flights every day. And so, basically we'd run, we'd, maybe hang out for a little bit, then go to the airport, hop on the plane, and go to the next one.
Man, that's insane, dude. So what did you do? So did you do anything between the races? Was there any, like, I mean, what did you do, like, when you finished?
Yeah,
How does
so
that look?
each one's a little different depending on the schedule. And the first day, we actually had a curveball. We were supposed to go to
Yeah, I
Antarctica
saw that,
first,
yeah.
and the weather just wasn't right. And so they couldn't fly in on the first day. So we ran Africa first and then flew to Antarctica the second day. And so, we ran Africa, felt great, finished about 1 o'clock that afternoon, took a shower, and then put on my Antarctica clothes. And that's when it kind of hit me like, whoa, this is not normal. This is not right.
So what's the temp there whenever you're putting on
Oh
your
yeah, it's
Antarctica
90
clothes?
degrees,
Oh,
it's warm.
man.
But just the fact that like I'm getting geared up for another marathon. And so, we flew out that afternoon and we had, 15 hours between marathons. And that threw everybody off a little bit. And I mean, you weren't going to necessarily have a clean 24 hours every day,
Yeah.
but that it was really compressed on that first two. And so I remember on the flight down to Antarctica just thinking, whoa, this is going to be interesting.
So you had to, so Antarctica is so brutal that, like, you had to be prepared when you got there.
Yeah,
Is that?
yeah. They open the
Yeah.
door of the airplanes. You just feel the cold rush come in, and so you got your clothes on. That you're going to wear. You're wearing them on the plane, and so when you land, you're ready to go.
So you had your Antarctica clothes on for 14 hours?
Yeah,
Or
yeah.
12 hours?
Yeah. Well, it was about a 5.5 hour flight down there, so it's about
Yeah.
7 or 8
Okay,
hours.
yeah. So obviously the running part was extremely difficult, but how difficult did the travel end up being, and also how difficult did the recovery, that
Yeah.
part of it, not being able to recover very long, how did that end up playing out?
Yeah, it was a challenge, and there really wasn't a way to fully replicate it in training. You do some consecutive days running, but not 26 miles a day.
Yeah.
And so the recovery piece was tough, and my legs would be really tender. I'd have a massage gun. Try to use that to kind of get some stimulation there. I had compression boots I wore, so that definitely helped. And then you'd start running, and the first mile, 2 miles, 3 miles, you'd be really tight, really stiff. Then by mile 5, 6, I'm kind of warming up a little bit, and you'd feel good. And so it was kind of an interesting the way that worked out. And in terms of the food and the nutrition, I didn't have a lot of choices. We basically ate what they served, and they had a good meal prepped for what our needs were. But we just kind of ate on the plane and slept as best we could.
The travel, how did that?
It was interesting. It wasn't as big of a factor as I thought it would be going in. And it was significant, don't get me wrong, but normally you think about being tethered to a time zone, right? So if you're traveling somewhere, well, it's 4 hours different from Central Time. Yeah, it's different, but we didn't even know what time it was. So you just were in absolute terms. So, okay, hey, we got a 14-hour flight.
Yeah.
Let me eat. Let me sleep for, as many hours as I can, and then we're going to get up and run. And so it really, we weren't just completely aware of what time it was where we were. And in Antarctica, for example, I think we landed at just after midnight, 12:30, and you get 23 hours of daylight down there. So we started running at like 1 in the morning, and and so we didn't know any different. We're just running. So.
Yeah, we're gonna get into Antarctica in a minute, but yeah, man, that was one of the ones that I watched, and it was just insane. Let's see, man. So the time zone changes weren't as big of a deal as you were thinking they were going to be.
They weren't, and it wasn't easy, but you didn't. It was more about I've got 12 hours to this next event, or so you thought about it more in terms of time blocks, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense though, because you're not like, oh, it's time to go to sleep.
Right.
I'm wide awake. Yeah.
And you were always tired. You'd eat, and then they turned that light off on the plane. Everybody went to bed.
Was there what was the biggest surprise that you learned about your body over the week?
Yeah, I'm capable of a lot more than I think I am, and the resiliency surprised me. And I'm tough. I'm resilient. I've run a lot of marathons, but I was really concerned how I would look on day 6, day 7. Am I going to be limping? Am I going to be walking? Am I going to be crawling? I mean, I really didn't know how my body would respond. And it's interesting, day 8, I woke up and my first instinct was, let's get ready to run. You're just so conditioned to do that. And so I think it was a pleasant surprise that my body was able to handle it. And I was in great condition going in. I was really faithful to my training program, and so I felt like I was in excellent shape and condition going to do it, and I just didn't go fast, kind of go slow at a moderate pace, and I think that served me well, especially in the later part of the week.
Did you feel any physical things that you had never felt prior to that? Like you said, like maybe those first few miles were tight and all of that. I mean, was that kind of a new sensation for you?
It was in the sense that, I mean, normally you run a marathon and you're sore the next day. You go up or down stairs, just a little tight, you may walk a little bit, but you're not generally, I haven't done any running after it. And so now all of a sudden it's like, hey, get geared up, you're about to do this again. And so that was, it was a challenge, but it was remarkable because it hurt at first, I mean, I say hurt, you're just sore, you're tender, it doesn't feel quite right, but then, 5-6 miles in, all of a sudden, just feel normal. It hit a stride, and so that was a pleasant development to kind of feel some normal, even after you started with some tough.
The normal hurt.
Yeah, the normal hurt. There you go. That's right. I'm looking for the right way to phrase it. Good. Well said. Well said.
What about mentally? Was there anything that surprised you that you were like, wow, that obviously accomplishing it, but what else?
I'm a real big on just, positive mental affirmations and things to think about. And every day I had, little kind of a note, to have some Bible verses, a couple things, to kind of just ground me and, hey, here's what I'm doing. This is why I'm running. And later in the week, I was intentional about, okay, day 6, day 7, tell yourself it's going to be tough. Expect adversity. Expect it to be difficult. So what, now what? You're going to have to deal with it. Expect to be tired. And I think that mindset really helped prepare me. And so it was really reassuring to be able to be successful with it and do it where I wasn't just crawling across the finish line. And so that was probably the biggest, from a physical and mental perspective, the biggest positive development.
Yeah. Was there a point at any of this where you thought, man, this might be too much?
In Antarctica, day 2, I remember, just being a little overwhelmed down there. It was such tough conditions, and the wind would just cut through you. And I remember, so you didn't have that here because it was so cold. They had a couple of aid stations, but you couldn't drink anything because the water was frozen. I mean, it's just ice. They were pouring hot chocolate in a cup and it would freeze before you could get it. So, wow. I mean, it was just hard to get water without going inside to one of these huts. And so, you duck in one of those and they have plenty of water, get a little something to eat, you take your gloves off, you take your hat off, and all of a sudden you start getting comfortable. And I started realizing, look, I got to stay out of here because I need to be out there running, putting the miles in. And I remember having the thought, I said, this plane's only on the ground so long. If I don't get my tail out there and get these miles in, I may not get them in. Yeah. And so that was, and I probably overthought it to that extent, but that was a point, and it was early where I thought, you better get your tail in there and do it. So.
Yeah, and that's day 2, so that would make sense to, well, all the conditions. It would make sense on day 2, even if it was good conditions, because you're like, this is the first time that my body's really followed up a marathon the next day.
Correct.
But then you throw those conditions in too. I can only imagine.
Yeah.
So what about like showers and stuff like that? I guess they had showers on the plane and all that stuff?
Well, no, not on the plane. And so, we had hotel rooms at most places.
Okay.
And so like in, Cape Town, we were there for a couple of days with the briefing. And the original intent was we'd fly down to Antarctica, fly back, have our hotel room in Cape Town, shower, run the marathon the next day, shower, then fly to Australia. we actually ran 2 marathons before I took a shower. We went down to Antarctica, no shower on the way back. And I mean, we didn't have time to go anywhere else. We flew back and then immediately flew to Perth, Australia. We swapped planes. It was a different plane that flew down to Antarctica that we were on for the rest of the trip. But so, get to Australia, run, and then when we finished there, took a shower there. And so we were at the Western Australia Marathon Club. They sponsored the event, and really nice facility. They had showers, shower facility there, so we were able to take showers afterwards. But Abu Dhabi, we had hotel rooms. We didn't stay the night. We were there till like 3 in the morning before we left to the airport. But it was nice to, have a shower, kind of, rest for a little bit, get in bed for a couple hours, that kind of thing.
So I'm guessing that was the smelliest leg of the flight. Was 60 folks with no shower.
With no shower, 2 marathons, no shower. So that was I didn't have that on my bingo card going in.
Oh man. So you were talking about doctors the whole time, and we talked about it before you went. They had doctors with you. Did you ever have to receive any type of treatment or anything?
I did not. I was very fortunate. I had a couple blisters, and when the docs taped me up one day, and the only reason he taped me up, the guy next to me had gotten frostbite down in Antarctica, so they were seeing him on the regular, and so they're kind of treating him one day. I was like, "Doc, take a look at these blisters." He's like, "Yeah," pulled out some tape and taped them up a little bit. But no, I was very fortunate to stay healthy and no issues, literally, other than a couple of blisters.
Not to put anybody else's business out there, anything like that, but were there other people on the that had the serious issues or anything like that?
There were. I understand there was maybe some stress fractures that somebody had. A lot of ankle, a lot of knee issues. Yeah. And so my mindset was, you'd see the docs working on somebody, and I just kind of, hey, wish them well, but I don't want to see what they're doing. I don't want to be part of that. Yeah. So.
Yeah. Did you have contact with the family during all of this?
I did, and I didn't know how well cell service everywhere, no problems there. But like 2 in the morning, we'd land, and I'd send Julie a text, "Hey, we just landed. We'll be running in about an hour and a half," And so she'd usually call right back. She'd be like, "Good, I hadn't enough sleep. I've been waiting on you." So, but yeah. So usually it was odd hours, but we definitely kept in touch. And Julie did a great job keeping everybody else in touch and letting them know about the times and when we were going to start and everything like that. So.
I'm assuming that her week was probably all out of whack as well.
It was.
Just minus the marathons.
It was, yeah. She was a trooper. She'd be, 1 in the morning up watching us put the miles in. So absolutely, she was there with us every step.
Was there something that we were talking about packing before you went? Was there something that you packed that you were like, man, this came in handy? Or
my ski goggles, those were handy, and I had a neck gaiter that had a face mask on it, and so I was really on the fence. I don't need this. It's gonna be too bulky to run with. Throw it in there. Really glad I did. The guy next to me got frostbite. He didn't have his face covered through here, so that was something I was really glad I had. That neck gaiter that pulled up to cover nose and cheeks.
Wow. Is there anything that now that you've been through all of this once, what are some things is there anything that you would do differently as far as packing and prep and stuff like that?
I'd probably, I say that. No, I don't know that there would be. I mean, everything worked out pretty well. It really did. And, being down in Antarctica, it was cold, but I had everything I needed. Maybe some mittens instead of gloves. I'd probably do that differently. One thing, you get in there, you get sweating, and then your fingers get wet, and then they get cold, and then you got a problem. Yeah. And so what I did, I had my fingers out of the glove holes, just use it kind of like a mitten. So when I was running like this, but I had the floppy fingers. So not a big deal, but that's something I would do differently. I'd have some mittens and probably a couple pair of them so I could swap them out.
That could turn into a big deal, though.
Oh, shoot,
yeah.
Well, listen, there were people that had significant issues down there where they had to come in and just warm up, and Yeah, there were a couple spots on the course, you'd make a turn and that wind would almost just knock you down. And it would, it would just, it'd feel like knives going through your fingers. They'd be wet and cold and that wind would hit them. And it was just, it was tough. It's hard to explain how harsh the conditions were down there on the ground.
Yeah, I'm about to get into this each stop, and I'll talk about my thoughts whenever I was watching the video from that one. But lastly, in our little, before we get into those, is we were talking about shoes.
Yep.
How many shoes did you take, and how did that hold up, and all of that? Did you take your Brooks with you?
I did. I took two pair of shoes. And
how'd they hold up?
Held up great. And I took one pair normal size, and then one pair a half size up, and that worked really well. I think I swapped into those after day 3. So days 4 through 7, I had the bigger. And I mentioned about having a blister. I think that helped a lot when I got that bigger. It gave me a little bit more room in the shoe where it wasn't just getting as much friction as I was in the earlier days.
So you were talking on our last interview about how it kind of freaked you out a little bit because they were talking about you might want to get a bigger size shoe because your foot's going so well.
Yeah.
So that happened?
It happened, yeah. And your foot just swelled a little bit, and it just really glad I had it. That was great advice I gave. So,
All right, well let's dive into Cape Town, Africa was the first one.
Yeah.
And like you said, you guys were supposed to start in Antarctica and then come back and do that one, but it got swapped around.
Yes.
I was curious a while ago when I'm thinking in my head, it's like the conditions were rough. It's like I thought the conditions were just always no, we really can't go today.
Yeah. That's it. It was just real bad wind, some storm. And,
so think about it, it was worse than when you got there.
It was. It was, and it was significantly colder than they even expected it to be.
Wow.
Like 20 degrees colder than they expected it to be, and so it was for whatever reason we just caught a good dose of cold weather down there.
Yeah. So how did you respond? Because that's a little bit of adversity up front. It's like you prep, and then all of a sudden, last minute, we're going to make a change. And even though that may not seem like a lot to a lot of people, but if you've got something in your head and you're a routine person, all that can throw you off. Yeah. So did that impact you a little bit or not?
Sure.
You just kept rolling?
You rolled with it, you overcame it, but it definitely impacted it. And, one thing, I was kind of proud of this, I think I was the only guy that carried on my luggage. I'm like, I ain't checking a bag. But my intention was I had it all lined up. I had a little box I was going to ship back with all my Antarctica gear from Cape Town. And so I didn't get to do that because we swapped the races. Wow. And so I ended up having to toted along, and it wasn't a big deal, but that was something that it kind of I was a little bulkier carrying stuff than I wanted to be through the rest of the trip. And again, small potatoes, but that was it was definitely adversity because that first day, you're locked in, you've been thinking about this so long, you've been prepping for that Antarctica, and then that's not the one you do.
Yeah.
And we handled it, but it was a curveball.
And I'm thinking if I was going to do it, I'd probably rather just do Antarctica first and get it out of the way. I definitely don't want to do it as my body's weakening and my mind's weakening. I definitely don't want to do it later in the week.
Sure.
So I was thinking about that being a factor too. And then you didn't. I'm assuming you didn't get arrested at the airport or anything because we were joking about you were just going out of the country with
a one-way ticket.
Just a one-way ticket with a check bag out of the country.
Yeah, no, I thought about that. I thought, one-way ticket to South Africa, that might raise it, put me on a couple of lists.
Did you get the pat down or anything like that?
I really did. And it was interesting when I did land in Cape Town. You're going through customs. And I was by myself at this point. Hadn't met up with the group yet. She starts pulling out or looking in my bag, and there's like these compression boots and some athletic equipment. She's like, what is this? What is this? I was like, athletic equipment, compression boots. She was like, are you an athlete? I was like, yeah, I'm here running some marathons. Oh, she just whipped me off the road. I was like, all right, well, that's pretty cool.
Let's talk about, I guess, let's start with the Cape Town course.
Yeah.
How was that? And was it what you expected? Were you prepared for? Did you have any idea what the course would look like before you went?
I mean, see some pictures online, you kind of look at the area a little bit, but no, really not.
Yes.
And it was gorgeous. They've got this, they call it the Sea Point Promenade down there, and you're running, right on the ocean, and just a beautiful course. It was warm. It was warm, and that was something else that was a little bit of a curveball when they made that decision to do the Cape Town one first. We started at like 9 in the morning. And normally you'd start at like 6 in the morning, kind of get out of the heat of the day. So we were running in pretty hot conditions down there, and it was fine. But that was something that was a little different, and it was really windy down there too. I remember, and it was kind of interesting because everybody kind of had a similar comment. But the night before, I didn't sleep at all. I mean, couldn't sleep. And I guess it was excitement. One, I got a couple of phone calls and text messages in the middle of the night, the time difference, right? And so, nobody with any ill will or anything, but a couple, times the phone went off and woke me up, and I couldn't sleep. And the wind was just howling so strongly that night, and everybody was kind of saying the same thing. God, did you sleep? Nah, I didn't sleep awake. So we got no sleep going into this thing. But that was kind of an interesting aside. Yeah.
I'm going to ask you this about each one, but and it doesn't have to be long. But give me your best and worst of Cape Town.
Cape Town's a cool city. I mean, a lot of heart, it's a cool spot down there. I was not prepared for it to be as much culture as there was. And not, I don't mean that in a dismissive way, but just it really kind of surprised me. And I don't want to say New Orleans, but it had a similar passion. You go to New Orleans and there's just a passion down there. It's a feel. Some places have it. They had that. Now it manifested a little differently, but that was really cool. Cape Town's a cool place. Had a couple of really nice dinners down there before, you went down there, some really nice restaurants and neat places, and, you go pay in the local currency, and, it'd be like, oh, that's 25,000 rand, and it'd be like, oh God, how much is that? It'd be like $70 US, and so had to get a little bit used to the currency fluctuation there, but really cool place, really cool.
And I'm guessing that the toughest part about that one was the heat because of the time.
The heat and the time change.
Yeah.
But it was, look, best condition I've ever been in going into a race. And so, I mean, I was really trying to slow it down more than anything.
Okay, so after that, you guys went to Wolf's Fang. That just sounds tough.
It was tough.
So set the scene for us whenever you guys rolled up into there and just stepped off the plane and all of that, kind of what's going through your mind, what are you looking at and all of that.
Yeah, so it's just beautiful. You get down there and you look and it's just, it's a white desert is what they call it. You look out there and you just see ice as far as you can see in one direction, then you look at the other direction and there's just these majestic mountains, like you're in the Rocky Mountains or something, just beautiful scenery. And we were at about 3,500 feet elevation, which I didn't realize until after the race. Somebody mentioned it. I assumed we were closer to sea level, but we had a little bit of elevation there, and you walk off. So the plane lands, and we're landing on ice. And,
which is insane itself.
Which is insane. We're getting ready to put down. I'm like, these pilots are nuts that are doing this. And that's going through my mind. I'm like, it's too late to do anything. Just, say a prayer, hope it goes well. But, smoothest touchdown I think I've ever had in a plane. They just real smoothly put it down. But then you could feel it accelerate when the plane hit the ice and just started just rocking down the runway. And so, the runway is longer. Yeah. And you're like, we can't just put the brakes on.
That's when that handle comes in.
There you go. That's it. And it was fine. We had a real smooth landing, and then they open the door and you feel it, right? Because the cool air just rushes in there, and you step off the plane, and you're just in awe looking around you, right? You're just trying to take it all in, and so that was kind of cool. Just that first initial moment, and then they've got some sleds and different things for some of the gear, like the medical gear and things like that. Some of the people that were traveling with us, and then we walk, a couple hundred yards, and there's the course, and so we're kind of right there, and so didn't waste a lot of time. Got down there, had a briefing, and got that show on the road.
I guess when it's that cold, everybody's like, "You ready to run? You ready? Let's do it."
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of interesting because the people that were supporting us, they were not happy about it being colder than they expected. Because then you're trying to get the guys out there on the course to support the aid stations, and so there was actually a little bit of people were kind of, well, and then it's like, the race director kind of whipping everybody, look, we got a schedule to keep. We're already, a little bit late, and then we got it going. But, yeah, I mean, didn't waste a lot of time. Got down there and got moving.
Yeah, whenever I was watching you on Twitch on that one, and there was a guy, we were talking about it before we came on, but there was a guy that just did live stream for like the entire marathon each time, and it was really good and really cool. It's hard to just fill 4 hours or 5 hours or however long.
Yeah.
But he was just walking around, and he was showing just video and all of that, and I'm like, oh my goodness, like that's amazing.
Yeah.
But one thing that I noticed, he would be talking, all you can hear is just, I mean, you could just hear like how hard that wind was cutting. I just felt so terrible for you guys.
Look, it was tough, and I mean, I knew it was going to be cold, but it was a lot colder than I expected. I don't know, that's not the best way to describe it. Kind of just a frigid, just unforgiving cold and conditions down there.
We'll move on off of this one, but how did your body respond to that temperature change? Because you just came from, I guess, like 80s, 90s to that.
It was tough. I mean, body's kind of shocked a little bit. And, what was really remarkable, it was 95 degrees in Australia the next day. So, I mean, we had, over 100-degree delta in temperature, between, Cape Town to Antarctica, then to Australia. And just the difference, it did kind of shock the system a little bit, and you kind of, you push through it. But it was strange to go from one extreme to the other like that.
Yeah, I was right about 30 minutes before you came in. I was looking at the Weather Channel, and I was like, dang, it's going to be 70 high on Friday and 40 high on Sunday. And I'm like, well, wait a second. I'm about to hang out with a guy that just went to Antarctica.
That's a significant difference. That's a significant difference.
I was like, well, I'm all worried about it. If he survived what he just went through, we'll be fine. Real quick, the best and worst part of that experience.
Of
the Antarctica, yeah.
I think the best was really just seeing the scenery. I mean, it just, you can see pictures, you see video, and it's all beautiful, but it's just to look at it and just take it in, the splendor, the awe of this just remote corner of the world was just remarkable. I just really enjoyed just absorbing it, taking it in. That was really cool.
Yeah, wow. I can only imagine that, man. Just the awe of it. I think that's the right word, just the awe. And, man, yeah. Because just watching it on video was awe-inspiring for me. Let's, and then I'm going to assume the toughest part was the conditions.
The conditions were tough.
Australia, so it's Perth.
Yes.
Australia, day 3.
Yeah.
So by the time you hit Australia, did you start feeling any kind of, man, I've done 2 of these, now I got to do it again? Did you have any of that?
You do, and you're kind of thinking, all right, now you're starting to kind of get into it, right? And body's stiff, you're kind of sore, you've run 2 marathons, sleep schedule's off, it's all kind of starting to, come at you a little bit. And Perth was a beautiful city. I mean, just great place. Landed, beautiful day, hot, got warm. Because our schedule was off, we originally were going to start running at like 5 in the morning, have an early run. But everything got off track a little bit with Antarctica, and so we landed kind of late morning, started the race, around noon. And so we're basically running in the heat of the day. And, one thing that was really cool down there, a good buddy of mine, one of my fraternity brothers at Ole Miss, Pete, happened to be in Perth at the same time. He was flying out that afternoon.
No way.
Yeah, so Pete came and hung out with us and came and saw me at the finish line. And so it was really good catching up with him down there. But that was really special, having buddy Pete down there.
Be honest, you had him fly in to give you the Lane Kiffin update. Was that it? Is that what happened?
Well, no, look, the only thing I'll say about that is no quitting went on that trip. So.
Oh, man. At least you got to miss some of that during some of that soap opera during that
Yeah,
week. So
yeah, no quitting on that trip. No quitting.
I'm gonna put that one on the tee for you. There you go.
Yeah,
So that is random, though. I mean, that's one of the
yeah.
most random
That was
things ever.
cool.
So at this point, did you have to adjust your pace and all of that, or were you still kind of?
Yeah, no, it took care of itself, right? Your body starts
It
slowing
starts-
down, so you're not running as fast. And but it worked out, and you get a groove, and you would just not overdo it. You know, they had a lot of these ice baths, so. Especially Australia, Abu Dhabi, Miami was hot, but you'd put your wrists down in this ice bath, and apparently, when you're cold on your wrist, it physiologically tells your body you're not overheating, and so that was a technique we would use. I think worked out well. Ice, in your hat, kind of let it melt down on your head, just cool you down. So just staying cool.
Yeah. Okay. What about the best part of Australia? What was that for you?
It was beautiful. I mean, we're right on this river, and you just look at the skyline, just gorgeous view of the city. Seeing my buddy Pete, that was pretty special down there. And the hospitality down in Perth was really good. The Western Australia Marathon Club, hosted us, took great care of us. When the race finished, you saw somebody had a Domino's delivery driver show up with like 20 pizzas or something, so they got us a bunch of pizzas, and just a lot of hospitality. So that was really impressive down there. Yeah.
That's awesome, man. So we leave there. We go to Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. What was the climate and all of that there, and the temperatures and all that? Hot, I'm guessing.
Yeah, it was hot, and just a hot, dry heat, and it was really cool. We landed. They had a reception for us in the airport. Kind of welcomed us when we were there, and that was really neat. A lot of just really good hospitality. Took good care of us when we were down there, and the architecture. Just
I saw some of the pics. Yeah.
And it's just like nothing you see. I mean, you see it in movies and pictures and things like that, but look at it was pretty remarkable. It was a really cool city, right on the Persian Gulf there, and just remarkable. You're just kind of in awe of what you're seeing and where you're running, and just really cool.
How was the course? So, what is it? A different type of course, or?
It was a different course. Every course was a little different. It was a similar in the sense that it was down on close to the water, to the ocean there, and so most of it was kind of running, contouring the Gulf there, and so just beautiful course, beautiful city. They called it the Cornish district, I think. A lot of beaches there. There's a lot of hotels and resorts in that area, and a lot of restaurants, little shops and different things. So there was a lot of activity around. It was neat. It was cool.
Wow, man, you got to see so much of the world in a short period of time.
Yeah.
So you guys leave there. What was the best part of that leg?
It was. The architecture was beautiful, just seeing the sights, because you feel like you stepped into a storybook, it's just remarkable, but had a really nice dinner that night after the run. We didn't leave till like 3 a.m, so we had 8-hour time, and this great table sitting out on the veranda at the restaurant. You're overlooking the skyline, and just you kind of take a step back, and you're just like, wow, this is remarkable. Just so grateful for the opportunity to be here and this experience. And that was a really cool moment because, all right, look, you got 4 down, you're at a spot where
it's halftime,
tough, but I'm getting through this, and and that was kind of a cool moment to just take a minute to just be quiet and still and soak it in a little bit.
Yeah, and that's probably a good time to get that little mental clarity too.
Yeah,
whether they meant it for it to be or not, that's probably a perfect time for it.
It really was. It really was.
So then you guys head off to Portugal. Is that correct?
That's right. Yeah.
So where are we at now?
yeah.
Are we in survival mode, or are we still rolling?
We're still rolling, and it's everybody's feeling pretty good. I felt fine. I mean, we're tired, for sure, but landed in Portugal and had about a 30-minute drive. And again, we're going to these beautiful places right on the ocean down there. A little village called Altura, I believe, and we get a couple miles outside of town. And we get a police escort kind of carrying us in. And when we were there in Portugal, they had, just dozens of school-age kids, 8, 10 years old, giving us high fives, kind of, cheering for us on the course. And so there was a lot of, just a lot of energy in Portugal. And so that was a really great spot, great people. Just beautiful scenery and just beautiful day. The weather was perfect. Low 50s, warming into the mid 60s. So just ideal running conditions and just gorgeous day.
What was your favorite takeaway from Portugal?
After the race was over, kind of walked down on the boardwalk, just went down to the coast and checked it out. That was really neat, and that was really, really cool. Just checking it all out, and it was a really peaceful beach scene. Just real calm waves, and it was a little cool. But I just remember just thinking, wow, this is what a great place. So grateful to be here and to just see this, take it in.
Wow. You leave Portugal, go to Colombia, right?
Yeah.
South America. Yeah. If I'm not mistaken, you guys started this one late at night. Is that correct?
We started this one, I think, maybe 3:30 in the morning, something like that.
Okay.
And, trying to beat the heat. And, we're right on the equator. The humidity's tough. Feels like Mississippi in July.
Yeah.
And it was kind of interesting because a lot of the people had never run in that kind of humidity. And so, we land, we're getting off the plane, and people are like, what's wrong with the air down here, And look, it was tough, but I mean, I was more acclimated to it and started running early. Beautiful sunrise, just beautiful sunrise coming up. Colombia was really cool. It was a beautiful place, just gorgeous. The overlook over the water and seeing the sun come up was really neat.
In Colombia, is that, I know this is an ignorant question, is that mountainous down?
There are some mountains kind of on the interior where we were. We were right on the coast and there, so it was relatively flat where we are, but not too far. There are some mountains and some more elevation. Yeah.
Yeah. What was your best takeaway from Colombia?
The humidity's tough, and but I was glad that I'd put in a lot of miles in Mississippi in the summer. And I mean, think about it, September, a lot of the heavy training I was doing, even in early October, you still get a heavy dose of it. So I was glad to have the experience training in this Mississippi heat.
A lot of the people that I saw that were running with you, I saw Boston and some other places around the country, and I didn't think about that. I didn't think about the humidity because they're not used to that. Did they really struggle with that? Or?
I did.
That's a real factor. I mean,
it's a real factor, and it's we are forced to deal with it, and it's tough. I mean, but it's day 5, right? So you're not running your first one, and as that race went on in the later parts of it, it got hot. It got hot as that sun came up. So yeah.
So man, we leave there and we're headed to the stop number 7 now. Yep. We're headed to Miami. Those last few miles, whenever you say mile 20 or whatever, what are you thinking at that point?
In Colombia, when you got to the back part of the race, mile 20, you kind of start realizing, all right, we got this. I got to go do this in Miami, but you kind of start to feel
going home.
And so that was really cool. And it's a short flight. It's only like 2.5 hours from Colombia to Miami. And so we started the marathon early in the morning in Colombia, had some time that afternoon, but we landed in Miami at like 8 o'clock at night. So and that was really cool because Julie and Mary Blair were there. A lot of the other people had friends and family, so it was just great reception, welcoming us there. Everybody kind of took over the lobby in the hotel when we got there, and it was just a really cool scene. A lot of energy. It was great to get a proper night's sleep in bed.
I was about to say, yeah.
And woke up the next morning, felt great, ready to do it. So.
So when you saw them, did it feel like it had been like one day since you saw them, or did it feel like it had been like a month since you
It felt
saw
like a
them?
month. It
Yeah.
felt like a month. Yeah,
Yeah.
it felt like, wow, I hadn't seen y'all in 3 months. Or,
Yeah, yeah.
It felt long.
Yeah, okay. I didn't know if you were just going so fast. You're like, I don't even know what's going on. Yeah. I figured it was. So what did it feel like to see them after going through all that?
It was great. It was great. Julie and Mary Blair are my biggest cheerleaders. And so, Julie stayed up all hours of the day and the night, watching us wherever we were. But, they had some really cool signs that they had. And so it's just great to see them and just a lot of energy. And it was really good.
Did they get to kind of mingle with some of the other families and stuff?
Yeah. They did, and so that was kind of neat. I mean, and everybody's getting the same text, right? All right, we landed, and then in my mind, I can imagine, all right, the lobby at the hotel, all right, they're 10 minutes out on the bus. Everybody's probably down there starting to, get ready for us, and there were people from Texas, California, Boston, Chicago, all over the country, as well as the world. But most people had friends and family there, so it was there was a lot of energy there.
I can only imagine. What is that? I'm assuming that's probably the best of Miami is kind of everybody getting to see each other.
It really was, and next morning we get up, kind of a more normal race day, right? You're in a hotel, you're starting to run at like 7 in the morning, a normal time, so that felt pretty normal, and my parents were down there, my brother Andrew and his wife Jody just had a lot of support down there, and they took a picture every day at the start line right before we started. And I remember, when they took the picture, I was like, this is probably the last time this group is going to all be together in the same place.
Yeah.
And, it probably is. And, everybody finishes at different times. They had an event that evening, kind of a reception. Most people were there, but, people kind of go in different directions. And then it also kind of dawned on me, it's like, wow, this is about to be over. And it was just remarkable just how quickly the whole experience went.
Was it, thank God it's over, or was it sort of a little bit of a bittersweet feeling?
No, it was bittersweet.
Yeah.
I mean, it was just so remarkable. I mean, just an amazing experience. I mean, you roll off the jet, you're some exotic place you've never been. You go crush a marathon, and then you're off to the next place. And I mean, and I realize that to me that sounds great. Somebody else that may not sound as great, but it was just a remarkable experience. And then it went by so fast, and then it's done.
Well, you just did something that 99.9999999 and going on for a long time a percent of people will never accomplish. When did it sink in, or has it sank in yet, or is it still sinking in what you've accomplished?
I think it's still sinking in a little bit, and that's been interesting. In the conversation we're having, I didn't have time to reflect on these things on the trip, and so now that I'm home, I'm starting to reflect on this more, and it's really, it's interesting. I'll think of something I hadn't thought about before, or whatever the case is. But I'm starting to kind of process it a little bit, and it was a remarkable journey and a remarkable achievement. I'm very, very, very proud to have finished, and but the experience and the people. You meet this group of people that are just the most positive, optimistic, pushing limits. Nobody, fussing, oh, we got to go do this again. Just remarkable, really was.
Just a couple more little quick questions, man. Do you feel like you learned anything about yourself over those 7 days?
Yeah, I did. I'm tough, and if I set my sights on something, I'm going to get it. And it gave me just some confidence to know, hey, don't be bashful, shoot for big things. and you got to be relentless. You got to work hard, but you'll get them.
Yeah, you're definitely tough, man. Definitely tough. Last question, I guess, is if you could go back and relive just one of those marathons again, which one would you go back to?
Oh, wow, good question. That's a really good question. Wow, I don't know. There's something special about all of them, but probably, maybe I'd say Miami, I guess. The last one, family there, just a lot of energy and just the emotion, crossing that finish line, knowing that you've completed it. That was something else. It really was.
Yeah. Well, man, am I missing anything? Are we forgetting anything here?
Ronnie, that was pretty good run through on it. I mean, just just remarkable experience. I can't say that enough, and I'm still in awe of it, and I'm processing it as we're speaking and talking about it. But just so grateful for my family and all the support, and then everybody in the community. I mean, had a lot of people watching us live, commenting, got a lot of just really positive messages, and that really meant a lot. And so just grateful for all the love and support, and it's a wild ride.
Are you giving yourself a little time to not run, or are you back on the streets running again?
I've run a couple times just to make sure everything still works, I guess. But I am giving my body some time to heal, and I'm very fortunate to be healthy coming out of this, and it's not lost on me. And so trying to just give my body a couple weeks, just rest up, recover, just heal.
Yeah. Well, man, I appreciate it. I appreciate you coming in and sharing this with us. And I know our viewers are, I had a lot of people that watched the last one, and they were like, "Are you gonna do the follow up?" And I said, "We have to."
Sure.
I mean, inquiring minds need to know.
That's
so,
right.
so I appreciate it.
Well, my pleasure. And thanks for having me, Ron.
And thank you.
It's been a pleasure.
No doubt, man. And thank you guys for watching out there. Thank you to all of our amazing partners again who help make all of these interviews possible and everything that we do in the community possible. Without those guys, we couldn't do what we do. Thank you again for coming in.
My pleasure.
God bless everybody out there. And as always, have a champion day.